can't fail to recognise one of the traditional Laura Ashley shops, the green paintwork, oval company logo, wooden floors, flower arrangements, and all those stylish products to wear and to decorate our homes. You might work for the company, maybe in this shop, or one of the 400 found around the world from Hawaii to Hiroshima. You might be a regular customer who loves to pop in from time to time. You may be a new customer, just come to browse. You could well have Laura Ashley garments hanging in your wardrobe and Laura Ashley home furnishings adding that touch of something special to your home. And here they are, in these elegant, friendly Laura Ashley shops. Look at these marvellous designs. Have you ever wondered where they come from? This is Newtown, mid-Wales, and this is Newtown's largest factory, Texplan, one of 2 textile and wallpaper printing plants owned by Laura Ashley. The plants are run by Laura Ashley Industries, the manufacturing arm of the company. Texplan and its sister plant at Helmond in the Netherlands print the majority of fabric for our garments and home furnishings, as well as producing wall coverings and paint. This £8 million factory is the company's flagship. Sir Bernard Ashley, company chairman, opened it in 1987, and the following year he escorted Texplan's most famous visitor and Laura Ashley customer, the Princess of Wales, around the factory. Texplan was built to meet the growing demands created by new and existing Laura Ashley shops. Production had been based at the group headquarters in Carno, 12 miles away, but the site was too small to support the continuing expansion of the group. There was a great deal of lobbying from areas that wanted to house the factory and its jobs. However, after lengthy negotiations, Mid Wales Development provided a significant amount of financial help in the form of a regional aid grant, and it was decided to build Texplan in Newtown. The construction of the 135,000 square foot building on the Mochtra industrial estate began in August 1985 and was completed in September 1986. To walk around the outside of this massive factory would take 15 minutes. At £8 million for the building and equipment, the factory is the largest single investment ever made by Laura Ashley. Much equipment was transferred from Carno, and new machinery worth more than £2.5 million was installed. Texplan is the largest textile factory built in the UK during the past 50 years. 170 people are employed at Texplan. About 100 of them work on the shop floor on a 2-shift basis. The factory is normally running 17 hours a day, 5 days a week. It is totally self-sufficient with its own production control office, laboratory, canteen, maintenance department and effluent plant. Each year the factory is capable of printing 11 million metres of fabric and 2 million rolls of wallpaper. These finished goods are sent to the Laura Ashley Distribution Centre in Newtown and on to any Laura Ashley shop worldwide. Printed cloth is also sent via Carno to our garment and home furnishing sewing factories to be made into products. So how does Texplan work? Laura Ashley's retail divisions place weekly orders for cloth to keep their shops supplied. The Production Control Office in Texplan is responsible for scheduling these orders for fabric, and staff there also coordinate and monitor the orders, or jobs, through the different production processes. At any one time, over 1,500 jobs may be on the shop floor. There are 4 stages of production in Texplan. Preparation, dyeing and printing, finishing and inspection and batching. Each year, the Laura Ashley Group buys 16 million metres of cotton, producing printed and plain cloth for both home furnishings and garments. Although TextPlan uses almost exclusively 100% cotton, some small quantities of experimental fabrics, together with cotton wool and cotton linen mixtures, are also processed. Furnishing fabrics mainly come from China and West Germany, with dresswear fabrics from Colombia, Japan, Germany and Thailand. All the cottons are of varying weight and construction, depending on their end use, and arrive in TextPlan in various forms: bales, rolls, pallets, pieces or bundles. Most of the cotton is supplied in the grey state. That is, as it has left the supplier's loom. Before processing, the fabric is a natural creamy colour. It is also quite dirty and will contain loose fibres and cotton dust. It may also contain cotton seeds and other debris. The cloth must undergo various processes to make it suitable for dyeing and printing. The number and nature of processes will differ depending on the type of fabric and its purpose. Strict quality control is vital to ensure exact printing and dyeing results later. The first process is known as laying out. This is where the fabric is received in short lengths. For example, Chinese cotton is prepared so that it can be processed efficiently by the textile machinery. The small pieces of fabric are sewn together to form one continuous length of cloth of up to 9,000 metres, though the average length is 5,000 metres, more than 3 miles. At this stage, the cloth is visually inspected for holes, rips, tears, mould, rust marks and weave faults. It is then wound onto a large roll, ready for the next process, cropping. The cropper removes long surface fibres from the cloth by a shaving action. It also removes dust by beating the cloth. Most fabric at TextPlan is cropped, as it improves the surface texture of the fabric for dyeing and printing by making it smoother and reducing the dust content. After cropping, many fabrics pass to the singer desizer machine. In the first cabinet, the singer removes short surface fibres and any remaining dust by passing the fabric over a gas flame. The second cabinet can be used as a quench tank to dampen and cool the singed fabric. Desizing can also be carried out in it. This process breaks down the size, the substance that has been added to the cotton to strengthen it before weaving. Once the desizing chemical has been absorbed into the cotton, the cloth is rotated for 16 hours for the chemical to react with the fabric and break down the size. The next 3 functions, washing, scouring and bleaching, all take place within the same machine, which is known as the bleacher. This is the most expensive machine in TextPlan, costing £750,000. It can process up to 150 metres of fabric per minute and can hold more than a mile of fabric. The first 2 tanks wash out any desizing chemicals before scouring, which thoroughly cleans the cotton using caustic soda. The soda removes dirt, wax and impurities and also swells up the cotton fibre, making it absorbent and receptive to dye. After scouring, the cotton is bleached in a hydrogen peroxide solution. The whitening of cloth is most important to ensure consistency in the printing processes. There is only one more stage the cotton has to pass through before it is ready for dyeing and printing: stentering. The stenter's purpose is to correct the width and to straighten the weft once the fabric has come from the bleacher, where it may have shrunk and become distorted. There are 3 stenters in TextPlan, and they are used in both the preparation and finishing of the fabric. To be stentered, the fabric must first be dampened so it can be easily manipulated, then pass through a weft straightening device where electronic eyes detect any distortions. The fabric is then pulled to the required width by a series of pins, which seize each edge of the cotton and carry the cloth through the stenter oven to be dried into the correct width. This process leaves small pinholes along the edge of the cotton. You may have wondered where those came from. The 2 stenters used in preparing the fabric process 200,000 metres each week between them. The cloth is now ready for dyeing and printing. The dyeing and printing processes are critical. Accurate shade and print reproduction is of extreme importance, as Laura Ashley goods are designed to coordinate with each other. The pad dyer dyes plains or single-coloured fabrics and grounds, which are background colours for printing. Cloth passes through a dye bath and is squeezed through two large black rollers, which act as a mangle to remove excess dye and ensure an even coverage of colour. The rolls of dyed fabric are then wrapped in polythene to prevent the cloth from drying at the edges, and are turned for several hours while the dyes react. This can take from between 2 and 24 hours, depending on the colour and type of dye. Texplan has 3 textile printing machines, which between them can produce up to 200,000 metres of fabric each week. The 2 older stalk printers can print designs of up to 6 and 8 colours each. The third printer, the £350,000 12-colour printer from the Reggiani company in Italy, is faster and more efficient than the other printers, as it uses the latest in computerised printing technology. Dyes are produced by the £200,000 computerised colour kitchen. Recipes for each Laura Ashley colour are stored in its computer. There are currently over 4,000 recipes on file. For each colour needed, the computer automatically selects the correct amounts of dye from 49 base colours and mixes them with thickeners to produce print pastes. This automatic process ensures good colour consistency across the range for textiles, wallpapers and paints. The type of dye used generally depends on the end use of the fabric. Dress material is printed with reactive dyes, which have good wash properties, and home furnishings are printed with pigment dyes, which have good light fastness properties. The laboratory at Texplan plays a vital part in ensuring the quality and consistency of all Laura Ashley dyes, together with sampling, colour matching and quality control of products. Fabric is printed using rotary screens. A rotary screen is a cylinder of nickel alloy, showing a design produced by the Textile Design Studio at the Laura Ashley head office in Kano. The designer's original artwork is reproduced electronically by the advanced Nippon computer Design Aid and made into films. At Texplan, a photographic technique engraves the colour-separated films, which show each coloured part of a design onto the surface of a cylinder. The design areas form holes on the surface of the cylinder, and dye paste is pumped into the middle of each screen and forced out through the holes by a steel blade or magnetic rod onto the fabric as it passes beneath the screen. Each colour within a design is represented by a separate cylinder, making up the overall pattern. Thus, a 12-colour print means 12 separate cylinders printing 12 different colours, one by one onto the fabric. Darkest or dominant background colour is normally applied first. After the first screen is in position, all other screens must be set up perfectly for the pattern to fit. There are approximately 1,500 screens in use, each one costing about £120. Their life depends on how often they are used and how carefully they are handled. The computer on the Reggiani printer stores and reuses information about the processing of each print. It can reproduce the exact screen positions, screen pressures and oven temperatures previously used to perfect a print. After the cloth passes under the last screen on the printer, it is dried in a large oven. The fabric then undergoes several finishing processes. The first is to set or fix the dyes into the fabric by steaming or baking. This is done in the steamer machine, where the fabric passes through a giant oven with a temperature of up to 150 degrees centigrade. In general, pigment dyed fabric is baked and reactive dyed fabric is steamed. Following baking and steaming, the reactive dyed and printed cloth is washed to remove excess dye and thickener used in printing. The washer has 3 washing cabinets. The first 2 wash the cloth thoroughly in water heated to 100 degrees centigrade, and detergent is dispensed in the second tank. The third cabinet rinses the cloth with fresh water. The 3 tanks contain about 50 gallons of water and 95 metres of cloth during the processing. Cloth returns once again to the stenter for the final finishing process. A new stenter, costing £350,000, ensures that once again the fabric is width corrected and weft straightened after the distorting effects of the previous treatments. In addition, resins and softeners are applied by the stenter to the fabric. In general, softeners are applied to dresswear and resins to furnishings. They diminish the shrinkage and improve the washing and handling properties of the fabric. The cloth is dried by the stenter's 8 bay ovens, which can cope with cotton at a rate of up to 200 metres per minute. Finally, printed fabric must be inspected and batched. The fabric is carefully examined as it passes over an illuminated board and batched into a smaller roll size and ticketed. The inspection process, along with stringent checks at all stages of production, ensures that the cloth to be sold in Laura Ashley shops or to make Laura Ashley products meets high quality standards. Every metre of fabric must therefore be inspected for potential fabric or processing faults, plus sewing joins and lead cloth being removed. Samples of fabric are taken at intervals and tested for colour accuracy and performance. Each roll is ticketed to identify the amount and type of cloth and its market. Rolls of furnishing fabric are shrink-wrapped and dispatched to the Laura Ashley Distribution Centre in Newtown for subsequent distribution to the Laura Ashley shops worldwide. Dresswear is transferred daily to the Carno cloth stores for use in garment cutting and production. Texplan's wallpaper department produces standard and vinyl wallpaper, standard and vinyl wallpaper borders, and emulsion paint. About 75 tons of base paper arrives in Texplan from Norway every month. It comes in large reels, each containing 4,200 metres of paper, which in turn will produce 400 rolls of finished paper. The base paper is made up of a series of interlocking wood fibres. It is usually made up from the pulp of silver birch and spruce pine trees. Standard wallpaper is first of all coated with a base colour or wash by the air knife coater, usually in a cream or sand colour. The paper is then dried at 150 degrees centigrade and wound onto a large reel ready for printing. The standard wallpaper printer produces wallpaper and wallpaper borders in designs of up to 3 colours, in addition to the base colour. Printing techniques are similar to those used in textile printing, and that rotary screens print the separate colours onto the paper. Wallpaper is printed using pigment dyes, mixed with china clay and titanium dioxide. The dioxide gives depth of colour to the prints. The dye pastes lie on the surface of the paper without being absorbed into it or reacting with it. For this reason, the dye pastes are dried after each application, as they are far more prone to smudge and run. After printing, the paper is trimmed to a standard width of 53 centimetres. Wallpaper borders are printed using the same methods, but in series on the same width paper. Once the paper has been printed, it returns to the air knife coater for lacquering. This gives the paper a wipeable, protective matte finish to ensure the surface remains clean and dust-free. Standard wallpapers and borders in excess of 4 colours and vinyl wallpaper are printed in the Laura Ashley gravure printing plant a few hundred yards from the Texplan site. The gravure printer is housed separately because of the flammable solvents used in the production of vinyl wallpaper. Base paper with a high plastic content is used to produce vinyl wallpaper, but gravure printing is quite different to rotary screen printing. Solvent inks are used in place of print pastes, as these key better to the vinyl base paper. They also dry quickly, so faster machine speeds can be achieved. Up to 7 colours can be applied. Engraved steel cylinders are used to apply the solvent inks with the outside of each engraved cylinder, picking up a different coloured ink from individual troughs. The inks are deposited as the cylinders and paper make contact. Over 150,000 metres of vinyl wallpaper are produced per week at the Gravure plant, and there is ample space for expansion. Printed vinyl wallpaper is returned to Texplan for embossing in a £160,000 machine. The paper is first softened under heated elements and is then passed between a rubber backing roller and an embossed steel roller. The embossed roller has a stippled surface, which gives the paper its textured finish. All standard and vinyl wallpaper and wallpaper borders are inspected and batched at Texplan. As the wallpaper is inspected, it is divided into 10-metre length rolls. The speed at which inspection takes place is faster than that of the fabric inspection, as the potential faults are fewer and easier to detect. Samples of paper are pasted on a wall to test for colour consistency and edge-to-edge matching. Wallpaper borders are also inspected and batched into 10-metre length rolls. The final process for all wallpaper and wallpaper borders is packing. The paper is labelled, shrink-wrapped and boxed before being dispatched to the Laura Ashley distribution centre. About 45,000 rolls of standard and vinyl wallpaper and 40,000 packs of wallpaper borders leave Texplan each week. Emulsion paints are produced at Texplan to coordinate with the rest of the Laura Ashley home furnishing range. Base paint chemicals are combined with pigments to produce the individual shades. The dyes and chemicals are weighed out by the colour kitchen and mixed in a large vat for 25 minutes. The shade is then checked for accuracy against a colour standard. Initially this is done by eye, but a final check is made using the laboratory computer. After mixing, the paint is ready for dispensing into 1 or 2.5 litre cans and finally is dispatched to the distribution centre. 6,000 litres of emulsion paint are produced each week, enough to paint the inside of an average house 200 times over.
To get that right and decide how we're going to do it.
Texplan is already gearing itself up for the 1990s to compete with its rivals, and the business is becoming more commercially aware. Market trends are being studied and technology developed to cater for the demands for higher quality and complex designs by all types of international customers. The plant has to meet the needs of an ever-expanding Laura Ashley group by developing new design and colour concepts, as well as new finishes, which will increase the cloth's use and improve its appearance. As a print house, we are also developing a range of prints for home furnishings and garments that can be sold and marketed to customers other than Laura Ashley. Printing will also be done for outside companies, and this commission work has already started at Helmond and Texplan. Great emphasis is placed on product development and quality control at Texplan, and the plant provides technical support for its Dutch sister company. It also acts on behalf of the group by evaluating and testing in-house products and bought-in merchandise. By the use of professional technology and state-of-the-art equipment, we can ensure that the services offered by Texplan equal and better those of our competitors. So that is Texplan. Did you ever believe so much went on under one roof? All that work and all those skills. In a few weeks' time, these products could be in homes around the world. No doubt, the next time you see a Laura Ashley dress or tablecloth, you will remember Texplan Now you've seen it for yourself.